You bugged my car? Now you'll have listen to what I think about you, a petty divorce tale, by user Ekurti. This gem of a story unfolded over the past few days, and I think it's too hilarious not to share. Not in the US or any other English-speaking country. I have a friend, let's call her Lisa. She's in her 50s, has been married forever, and has spent way too much of that time putting up with her nightmare of a husband. Lisa had thought about divorcing him more times than she can count, but she always hesitated because she knew he'd turn the process into a living hell. Well, 2 months ago, Lisa finally snapped. She decided it was time to break free and filed for divorce. Cue her husband, let's call him Todd the Terrible, immediately proving her right by going full-on paranoid spy mode. First, he installed surveillance cameras all over their house, which, unfortunately, is technically legal in our country as long as he's living there too. But Lisa's pretty sure he also planted some illegal listening devices because, get this, that's the exact advice he gave his brother during his own divorce. As if that wasn't creepy enough, Todd took her car for 2 days because it's the family car. He never uses the family car, as he got his own car, right after she handed him the divorce papers. Plenty of time to slap on a GPS tracker or a few bugs, right? His excuse for all this James Bond level nonsense? He claims Lisa is cheating. Spoiler alert, she is not. But here's the kicker: in my country, divorce means splitting everything 50-50ths regardless, unless something truly extreme comes up. So even if Lisa were sneaking off to rendezvous with the entire team of Kansas City Chiefs, it wouldn't change a thing. Todd's tantrum is entirely pointless. Now, Lisa doesn't have the time or money to check her car for gadgets, and the whole situation is understandably frustrating. So, I suggested the perfect petty revenge, turning his creepy surveillance obsession against him. Now, when she is in the car, she regularly puts on a show, loudly announcing gems like, "Your D**C case so small that need a microscope to find what you're working with. You're the worst sex I've ever had. And I've had bad sex. I feel sorry for your future dates, they'll need a search party to find any satisfaction." She's tried it a few times now and tells me it's more satisfying than therapy. Had enough of noisy neighbors, took it into my own hands, by user Ginger_Floydian. So I moved into my block of flats about 3 months ago. There's a group of young adults that are constantly sitting on the stairwell behind my bedroom smoking, laughing loudly, running about. One of them lives above me and plays loud music that they rap along to past hours constantly. I've tried reasoning and explaining I have a 2-year-old and I am disabled, we deserve peace, to no avail. I've called Noise Patrol, who they have just argued with and continued once they have left. Well, tonight I had enough. Tonight I'm home alone with my 2-year-old and I've spoken to them once already. So I chose Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses, the most rock song I could think of, one that my son is familiar with. Then I turned my TV up to 100, which I've never done before. It's pretty loud on 20 and has good bass for a lower-end model Samsung. I have misophonia, but I was so angry it didn't affect me. Then, just to add insult to injury, I started screaming the lyrics, "I can't sing for love nor money." Once the song ended, I turned my TV off. One guy said WTF. And they turned their music off and have been silent since. I said to my husband, if this continues I will turn my sound system on and play Baby Shark on a loop. I'm not playing games anymore. Best part is, the 2-year-old is still fast asleep. TLDR, you wanna torture me with your gangster rap, I'm gonna torture you with middle-aged white guy music. I left my shopping cart in the parking lot for the first time ever and it felt great, by user Deering. I got to the store today with my son and saw an open space. Sweet, a pull-through. I go to pull in and see that some dumbass took up 4 parking spaces and wasn't visible from the laneway. I had to back out of the space since I couldn't fit and ended up parking next to him. I shook my head and grumbled about it and went in to do my shopping. When I got back to my car, I noticed that 2 other people had piled their carts around this idiot's car. One in front and one in the back. I've literally never once in my life left my cart in the parking lot since I'm not an animal, but it only took a few seconds for me to know what I had to do. I put my cart next to the driver's side door of this guy's car and it felt great. Hopefully more people kept up the pay it forward cart pile after me. Screw you, people who take 4 parking spaces. The time my parents told me not to touch the thermostat, by user Raymond outside of time. A few years back, I was watching my parents' house while they went out of town. My stepdad is a decent dude, but they were supposedly having issues with the thermostat. I say supposedly because my grandmother was also living with them, and the three of them never agreed on temperature. When they were getting ready to leave, he told me don't touch the thermostat. I responded with something like, well, what if it gets too hot or cold? No, just don't touch it. Got it. For context, they live in the south, so we usually had, and currently, had the AC running. Well, lo and behold, a cold, nothing crazy, front came through. I don't prefer the cold, but I sure do enjoy being in blankets when it's cold. So as the temperature dropped, I just would add another blanket to my hibernation pile. But I sure as shit wasn't going to touch the thermostat. He made that very clear. By the time they got back, the thermostat was at 50 degrees. When they walked in, they immediately were like, what the F? Is the thermostat broken? I looked directly at them and said, I don't know. You told me not to touch it. Went to dump my ex's stuff off. Had cops come in and act an even better revenge, by user celebration_brave. https://www.reddit.com/r/pettyrevenge/s/lg0q7i2lnb. The original. I went to go drop off his stuff as stated, and unfortunately he was home. I did not want to risk seeing him, dealing with him, or getting more traumatized by the situation. So I called a cop. She came to the scene, was one I talked to earlier this week, and I love her. She told me to place all his belongings in the grass. I did as told with my friend. She then told me and him to leave, so not only does he have to make a million trips downstairs solo for his stuff, but if he wants to throw it away he has to walk like 6 blocks to the dumpster. So my inconvenience turned into an officer-controlled inconvenience. And I maintained zero contact.